All right, my friends, welcome back. This is going to be part 96 of my presentation on the flood and Noah's Ark. And guys, we're going to get into, I'm not sure how many videos I'm going to have in this block here, but we're still in the days of Noah. We're still talking about that. But we're going to get into a new topic here that I'm sure is going to tick off some people. So it usually does. It usually ticks off some people. And so I'm gonna step on some toes, even some Christians' toes. And but guys, it is what it is. And the evidence that I'm about to show you, I'm gonna let them speak for themselves. I'm not adding anything to this. This is what the researchers have stated. This is what the game stated, and I'm talking about video games. Now, I am not against video games. Let me just say that right now. I am not against video games. Okay, I've got video games before. I've played video games before. I mean, I'm an '80s kid. I grew up when the video games really took off, and now I just to let you know. Now I had to get into the filing cabinet to get these. There's some dust on them, but here's one, and I'm sure a lot of you guys that are really into video games are going to laugh at me. But I don't have a console type of video games. I've got these little handhelds. You guys remember Game Boy? And so I used to have a Game Boy, but I'm not sure what this is. But this is one of it's got a cover on it. And so you guys will probably already know what this is. I'm looking for a name on it. I'm not finding a name on it, but it's got these little cartridges here. And here's a cartridge here. Let me show you some of these cartridges. Here's a cartridge. This is Ice Climber Classic NES. I'm gonna say that's Nintendo Entertainment System. I think is what that NES means. There's Ice Climber. Now these are the type of games I grew up with, where it's just I don't know. I guess you would call it just like a storyboard type. They just go from one end of the screen to the other. And here's one of my favorites that I like. Was Castlevania. Castlevania, you see that? Castlevania. Again, Nintendo Entertainment System. And Donkey Kong. Donkey Kong. These are the games I grew up with. And so there's that there. And then lastly, I've got this one here. It's called Namco Museum. Namco Museum. It's got Pac-Man. I think it's got Dig Dug. Oh, I love Dig Dug. And I think it's got the racing game, some type of racing game in there. But it's got several. I think it may have Space Invaders or something like that in here. I think. I'm not 100%. But there's several different ones in here. And so, again, that is that right there. And so, Namco. And I've had this for a very long time, guys. These games that you see here, I've had for a long time. A DS, maybe that's what these are. These are considered a DS, and Nintendo DS. And here's one here that's got a bunch of other games in it, like Sorry, Battleship, and it was one of my kids, and it's got a price on it, $9.99. Again, guys, this is probably close to 20 years old is what you're seeing here. And so now this is one my son bought me, and it was real. I haven't turned this thing on, guys, in years. And so, but it's I guess there's some type. This one here can get on the internet if I remember correctly, but it's got a little stick on it. And so, but I play these games that I just showed you. That's the style of games that I play. And but this one here, I think you can get on the internet with it. I think you can. And but this is a newer one. I need to turn it on sometime and see if the thing even works. And so, but guys, I like video games. Okay, I want you guys to know that I am not against video games as a whole. As a whole, just like I'm not against the internet as a whole, or social media. I'm not against social media as a whole, though most people that know me personally know how much disdain I have for certain aspects of social media. I just think it could be used for a lot of good, but it's not. It's basically entertainment. It's a waste of time. It will eat up your time. It basically harbors bad emotions in people. It ruins relationships, and people have gotten up with old girlfriends and boyfriends because of it, and it's ruined marriages. And so, I just think that, could it be good, used for good? Yes, and that's what I do. That's what I do on my Facebook page. I use it for strictly the creation stuff, and my wife and I do RV trips, and we do reviews and stuff on the campgrounds. We try to use it for historical reasons, educational reasons, and we try to educate on there. We don't get on there and put a lot of personal stuff on there. We really don't. Just like with the television could be used for awesome things, but there's a lot of evil in it, a tremendous amount of evil into it. Just like with the internet, a tremendous amount of bad into it. But the video games, guys, there's some poison in here. There's some poison in here, and I'm going to show you some poison. I'm going to show you some disturbing poison. And that if you have children that are playing video games, I am going to help you. I am going to help you learn about those video games. And that's what all this is going to be about. And so I'm sure, guys, whenever I've talked with groups concerning video games, I always have somebody come up to me, always have had people come up to me afterwards and say, thank you. Thank you. I had no idea. I had no idea that's what these games were. And so these games now are growing exponentially. And so they're becoming more real. More virtual reality is now in. It's now the end now when it comes to these things. And so, guys, you need to understand something about the brain is that even though we may say this is fake, this is not real, when you get yourself immersed into a game like virtual reality, your brain can sometimes, can have the hard time in distinguishing what's real and what's not real. And so, and you play that for hours and hours and hours and hours on end. And don't tell me that there's people out there that don't, because I know they do, because I've talked with them. And so when I used to work with the sheriff's office, I used to be a child support officer. And so I used to serve paper on guys and their wives. A lot of times as I would leave their papers with their wives, and their wives would tell me, I can't get him to stop playing video games. And he plays at all hours of the night. And he's late to work. He's, either he don't go to work or he's late to work. And she said, I don't know what to do. And I've had professional people, guys, I'm talking professional people, like attorneys. I've had attorneys' wives tell me the same thing. And so this is across the board. This ain't somebody that's if you're in some type of low income, this is across the board. I know what I'm talking about when I talk about this stuff right here. And so I'm going to make some people mad. I'm going to make some people upset. But if I do, I'm sorry. But I've got to state it, and I'm going to state it. And these games right here are killing families, And so they just don't know how to turn the thing off, set it down, and go to bed or go to work or, whatever the case may be. What we're going to do is I'm going to show you some scripture. That's going to kind of catapult us into this. And then I'm going to show you some research. And then I'm going to show you a police case that happened. And then we're going to stop right there. And then when we come back on the next video, we're going to go through some video games. And I'm going to let the games speak for themselves. All right? So let's get started. All right. If you notice here, I'm just going to go through the highlighted area. It says here in Genesis chapter 6, verse 5, and God saw the wickedness of man was great in the earth. And I want you to understand something, guys, here about this statement. It says, and that every imaginations of the thought of his heart was only evil continually. Notice that statement. Every imagination of the thoughts of his heart. Were they doing anything physical? Does this mean they were doing anything physical at all? No. Somebody might say, well, Donnie, he's not hurting anything. Well, he's not hurting anything. He's just sitting in that chair. What's he thinking about? What's the thoughts of his heart? How about that? Think about that for a minute. I mean, think about it. Every imagination of the thoughts of his heart, the thoughts you're just thinking, was only evil continually. It wasn't that these people were doing things physically. Their minds were so corrupt, the only thing they could think about, guys, was evil continually. There was a study from 1982, a report done by the National Institute of Mental Health, and this is what they said. This is back in 1982, guys. Violence on television does lead to aggressive behavior by children and teenagers who watch the programs. This is from 1982. Now, they're just talking about violence on television. Just violence on television does lead to aggressive behavior by children and teenagers who watch the programs. And this is a study that was done. The post was made in 2000. The post was made in 2000, and the article was called "Violent Video Games Can Increase Aggression." Can increase aggression, and this is what it says. Playing violent video games like Doom, Wolfenstein 3D, or Mortal Kombat can increase a person's aggressive thoughts, feelings, and behavior, both in laboratory settings and in actual life. According to two studies appearing in the April issue of the American Psychological Association's APA Journal of Personality and Social Psychology. Furthermore, violent video games may be more harmful than violent television and movies because they are interactive, very engrossing, and require the player to identify with the aggressor, say the researchers. One study reveals that young men who are habitually aggressive may be especially vulnerable to the aggression-enhancing effects of repeated exposure to violent games, says psychologist Craig A. Anderson, PhD, and Karen E. Dill, PhD. The other study reveals that even a brief exposure to violent video games can temporarily increase aggressive behavior in all types of participants. The first study involved 227 college students who completed a measure of trait aggressiveness and reported their actual aggressive behaviors, delinquency, in recent past. They also reported their video game playing habits. We found that students who reported playing more violent video games in junior and high school engaged in more aggressive behavior, said lead author Anderson of Iowa State University. We also found that amount of time spent playing video games in the past was associated with lower academic grades in college. Okay, going on. In the second study, 210 college students played either a violent Wolfenstein 3D or nonviolent video game as Myst. A short time later, the students who played the violent video game punished an opponent received a noise blast with varying intensity for a longer period of time than did students who had played the nonviolent video game. Violent video games provide a forum for learning and practicing aggressive solutions to conflict situations, said Dr. Anderson. In the short run, playing a violent video game appears to affect aggression by priming aggressive thoughts. Longer-term effects are likely to be longer lasting as well, as the player learns and practices new aggression-related scripts that can become more and more accessible for use when real-life conflict situations arise. One major concern is the active nature of learning environment of the video game, say the authors. This medium is potentially more dangerous than exposure to violent television and movies, which are known to have substantial effects on aggression and violence. Now, let's look at a police case. Let's look at something that happened. This happened, guys, in March 4th. Well, the article, I would say, was posted March 14th, March 14th of 2024. That's just last year. Police believe violent video games may have influenced a 9-year-old, guys, a 9-year-old in a Tooele homicide. I did say homicide. A recent unsealed search warrant shows Tooele police believe the use of a violent video games could have played a role in allegedly influencing a child to commit homicide. The documents state that the police seized a cell phone and tablet from the victim of a homicide that occurred in Tooele City in February. Police believe the victim was the father of the suspect, a 9-year-old boy. Police say the child shot his father in the back of the head with a 9mm handgun, then attacked him with a tomahawk. Both weapons that they say are used in the video game Modern Warfare Warzone. The game was stated by other occupants of the home to be commonly played by the child. And we're going to look at that game here in just a minute. And this is what that warrant stated. The documents state that the gruesome and specific nature of the crime are inconsistent with the child's age based on similarly aged children who are known to have committed homicide, thus making the seizure of both devices necessary to shed light on why the weapons were used in the homicide. It's unique and concerning, said Dr. Doug Goldsmith, a licensed psychologist, who said the child's young age is rare in this crime. Goldsmith said most children play violent video games. They said most children play violent video games often and do not act out. However, it can be influential if the child is prone to violence. So that's key there, guys. That's real key there. Now, going on. If we still have children in elementary school, junior, or high school using violence to get their way, those are the kids I would worry about spending too much time playing video games, he said. He said games like Modern Warfare and exposure to other violent online could be correlated to this homicide if that were the case. Police say the child used a device right before the homicide occurred. So he played the game right before he killed his father. You don't typically see children that are in elementary school facing murder charges, said Nathan Evershed, a former prosecutor. Evershed said it's rare to see, but children can be charged with anything an adult can be charged with, including murder. Based off the age and uniqueness of this case, the court is going to need to determine whether the child is competent, said Evershed, adding it's not required to determine but will likely happen. If found to be competent and convicted, however, Utah law states that the child under 10 can't be placed in detention centers. Therefore, Evershed said an alternative would be sought. The court would have to make some important determinations as to where to best place the child, he said. Is it a family member? Is it a friend? Or is it a community? Evershed also said that although he doesn't practice civil law, he has heard of video game companies facing litigation surrounding the allegation of having a violent influence on children, and says they have not gone anywhere. And so the cases usually just go kaput. But this is that game. This is Call of Duty. I went looking for this game, and it just seems like they keep calling it Call of Duty, but it does have Modern Warfare and Warzone. So this is probably that game right here is what you're looking at. And guys, I am going to, in the future video, I'm going to be introducing you to the Entertainment Software Rating Board. We're going to look at that, but this is that game. This is that game, and if you'll notice to the left-hand side, it's rated. It's rated mature 17 plus. So that child should have not been playing it. Personally, nobody should have been playing it. But this is what it has in the game, and they are very honest about their games. I'm really impressed with the Entertainment Software Rating Board, and we're going to go through all of the ratings, and I'm going to show you some stuff that's going to make your jaw drop. But it says blood and gore, intense violence, strong language, suggestive themes, and use of drugs. That's what this child was playing on a regular basis. A regular basis. Now, it says Call of Duty Modern Warfare, this is the rating summary, is rated M for mature, 17 plus by the ESRB, which is the Entertainment Software Rating Board, with blood and gore, intense violence, strong language, suggestive themes, and use of drugs. Now, all this in the future I will be going through. Also, it includes users interact and in-game purchases. This is a first-person shooter in which the players assume the roles of Special Forces soldiers and freedom fighters as they battle terrorists. Players can engage in a variety of combat missions, such as saving hostages, escaping, infiltrating war zones, and assaulting enemy compounds. Characters use machine guns, shotguns, sniper rifles, and explosives to kill enemies in frenetic combat. In some situations, players must quickly determine which characters are terrorists and which are just innocent bystanders. Combat is highlighted by realistic gunfire, screams of pain, and large blood splatter effects. A sniper rifle causes increased damage, decapitation, and dismemberment. Some sequences prompt players to make choices that influence enemy behavior, using a pistol to threaten a suspect's family during interrogation, and timing actions to prevent terrorists from shooting hostages. Failure scenarios may occur. One sequence depicts characters interrogated, tortured via waterboarding. This is where they drown them. If players select certain dialogue options, then a bound prisoner is seen executed. Cut scenes depict additional acts of violence, a hostage killed by an explosive vest, civilians, including children, killed by a gas attack. Some scenes depict terrorists threatening and, in rare instances, attacking and shooting young characters, like a boy held hostage, young siblings attacked in their home. Players can control their ability to fight back. The game includes multiplayer badges that depict illustrations of marijuana leaves and smoking. Other illustrations depict close-up angles and partially exposed cleavage and buttocks. The words, the F word and another cuss word appear in the dialogue. So they do cuss in it. But guys, we're going to stop right there. I know this was a kind of a long introduction into this, but you ain't seen nothing yet. You ain't seen nothing yet. I'm telling you, it's going to get bad, really bad and disturbing. And but we're going to go through these games, and then I'm going to show you some areas that you can go to learn more, okay? But we're going to take our time through it because it's very important, guys, and it may affect your family. And so if you can save you some grief, hey, then I did my job. But you guys take care. I love you, and we'll talk to you next time. Bye-bye.